Hello, today we're going to look at factorising trinomials, but this time the number in front of the x squared isn't 1. So it's going to prove a little bit trickier as we'll see later on. Now let's try and apply the previous pattern for factorising trinomials when the number in front of x squared is 1. So that would be, we've got to find two numbers that multiply to give us the number term, to multiply to give us the 5, and also multiply to give us 16, the number in front of the x. So two numbers that multiply to give us 5. 5 and 1. Do they add to give us 16? No. Another two terms that multiply to give us 5. Negative 5 and negative 1. Do they add to give us 16? No. In fact, it will prove impossible for us to find two terms that multiply to give us 5 and add to give us 16. So I'm afraid our previous pattern won't work when we have a number other than 1 in front of the x squared. So we're going to have to find a different technique for doing this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use a little table method here, and we're going to find two terms that multiply to give us 3x squared. So 3x and x. So two terms that multiply to give us the x squared term, and also two terms that multiply to give us the 5. So 5 multiplied by 1, and I also put it the other way around. That will become apparent why I've put it the other way around, hopefully in a moment. Right, now what we do, we multiply the 3x, we multiply across, so 3x multiplied by 1 is 3x, x multiplied by 5, that's 5x, and what we do is we add those terms together. So 3x plus 5x gives us 8x, and what we do is we check to see if it gives us the x term in the middle. Unfortunately, in this case, it doesn't. So we get 8x, but we actually want 16x. Now let's do it again. This time, 3x multiplied by 5 is 15x, and x multiplied by 1 is x. So 15x plus x is 16x. Ideal. That's what we want. So I'll just show you how the table helps us get the factors in the brackets. Now what we do, we combine these two terms in one of the brackets. So that's a 3x and plus 1. And then in the other bracket, we've got x plus 5. So that's it, fully factorized. If you're unconvinced, you can expand back using the crab claw method. Now that's probably the technique that most people feel comfortable with. I'm going to show you a slightly different technique down here and see if you maybe like this one a little bit better. So what we do, we multiply the x squared, or the coefficient of x squared, number in front of x squared, multiplied by the number term, and we get 15. Now what we're going to do now is find factors of 15 that add to give us 16. So factors we could have 1 and 5. Oh, sorry, 1 and 15. So 1 and 15 are factors of 15, and also add to give us the 16. Now what we're going to do is we're going to split up the 16x into 15x and 1x. So I'm going to put the 15x there and the x there. So all I've done is I've split up this 16x into 15x and x. Now what we do, just going to put a little dotted line down there. Now what we do is we look at these two terms and find a common factor. So common factor, numbers 3 and algebra x. 3x multiplied by what gives us 3x squared? That's x. 3x multiplied by what gives us 15x? Well, that's plus 5. And here, the reason I put a dotted line down here was to look for a common factor if there was a common factor. But in this case, there's not. So we just leave it as it is. Now I'm just going to put this in brackets just to make it a little bit easier to see what we're doing in the next stage, that is. So looking at this expression now, we're going to look at this term and this term. What's the common factor? Well, the common factor is x plus 5. So x plus 5 multiplied by what gives us this? Well, 3x. And x plus 5 multiplied by what gives us x plus 5. That's multiplied by 1. And hopefully you'll see, or you can see, that these two answers are exactly the same. They're written around the other way, but it doesn't matter which order you multiply, remember. So whichever technique you prefer, most people prefer the table technique, but if you prefer this technique, that's up to you. So whichever one you feel most comfortable with. Goodbye, and thanks for watching.